What's up, everyone? This is Yuri aka Russian Prototype. Today is August 22nd of the year 2021, Sunday. This marks my 39th birthday on this planet. Before we jump into today's topic of our conversation, I wanted to take a few moments to reflect on my journey so far. I wanted to take a few moments to look back at my time on this planet. As you know, I was born in Russia. I spent about 18 years in my hometown, Volgograd, Russia. And my life has changed when I moved to the United States of America in 2000. Um, there were a lot of fears at first coming to the United States. There were a lot of limitations with English language, not speaking the language, not understanding the language, not understanding the culture necessarily. And later, there were a lot of internal battles, not battles that you drink of, but battles that you fight every day, that I had to go through and had to navigate. And, through all of that, there were also a lot of wonderful discoveries about life, about friendships, about disappointments, about hard work, and everything in between. One thing I will say that I've I've always been blessed with my family. I've always been blessed with amazing people around me. Um, Now I'm blessed with this incredible community. And even when things were not going my way, back when I was in community college in Illinois and I did not have necessarily direction, I was managed to visualize my life. I was managed to kind of see where I wanted to go. I had some dreams, dreams to get education, dreams to live in a nice place and see a nice life, beautiful life. Those were a couple of things that I visualized as almost every night as I was walking back from my computer lab monitor part-time job to my car in a parking lot. I was just visualizing those things. And a lot of those things came to pass. A lot of those things actually happen later down the line. And so I wanted to encourage every single one of you to visualize what you want in your life. Even if it seems unreachable right now, visualize it. Think about this. Ask yourself, what do you really want? Try to imagine it, try to feel it. What it would be to actually be in this particular situation or to accomplish that particular goal. And another thing I would say, take a leap of faith. Even if you don't have the skills, you don't have knowledge, don't have the abilities right now to get to that goal or to get to that place in life, take a leap of faith and start with the first step, whatever it is. Just start. Even though you're scared, even though you're unsure, even though you might not know how to get there exactly, start that journey today. One thing that really helps, as what really helped me actually as I continue through this journey, is to understand that I'm never going to be perfect. There's never going to be perfection. I knew that I'm never going to reach that. But just recently, I don't know the exact date, but just recently I learned the importance of gratitude for things that I do have in life. And that is the place from which you can build on. This is the place that feels right. This is the place of peace, the peace of harmony, the peace of joy, knowing that you have things to be grateful for, no matter how big or no matter how small they are in your life. So I offer to you today, on my birthday, a little bit of wisdom to always come from a place of gratitude that you have in your life, and to build from the place of abundance of what you do have in your life, as opposed to thinking and focusing on things that you don't have in your life. And I believe this is going to be a game changer for many people. And with that being said, I want to thank you, every single one of you, for your incredible support, for your incredible kind words, for your birthday wishes. I am grateful for every single one of you very, very much, because quite frankly, every single one of you impacted me in some way. Every single comment, every single thought, every single discussion, every single question. You putting these things out in the universe. And I just wanted to let you know that it makes a difference in my life. So thank you. I appreciate you very, very much. Speaking of gratitude, I want to bring in someone that I appreciate very, very much. Another thing that I would encourage you to do is surround yourself with positive people. Personally, I would try to get away from negative people and surround yourself with positive people. And I have this person in my life. I have a few of those people, and one of them is my friend Michael. He's a special guest today, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Just before I bring him in, you know, I want to acknowledge him for the fact that this guy just got up last night and drove a couple hours just to hang out with me. I didn't ask him to do it, you know. He took initiative to do it himself. We went to dinner, and then went to like a Latin dance place that I haven't been a part of for a while. And surround yourself with friends like that, who can just come in because they want to come in. Find something that feels real. With that being said, what's up, man?
How's it going here?
I see your dog. I see Max in the back.
Yeah, I'm on my drive back. I'm on my drive back from Orlando to Tampa. Got a
I
little bit.
know. I know. This is a testament. I wasn't just saying that stuff. He's actually driving back right now from my house.
Yes,
So
sir.
yes. So the way I wanted to for first of all, obviously, I want to acknowledge you publicly and say that you are a pretty good dude, man. You're pretty solid, man. I gave you pretty much the highest grade, whatever it is. If it's 10, then it's 10.
That's not
Uh,
me, bro. You can thank my parents. I had great parents.
no, no, no. A lot of people have good parents, but you're still making decisions how you're gonna approach life. But I appreciate you, man. You really made my birthday a very special occasion. And you kind of made it out of nothing. I was just gonna stay home and do nothing, but then you came in, you know, and made it very special. So I appreciate that very much, man. That means a whole lot to me, brother.
It gives me great pleasure to hang out with you, and you also bring a lot of the good in me. So, we feed off each other, man. I appreciate you as well.
So today, I wanted to talk about this topic: bad intentions versus good intentions in dating. And the way I want to approach it first, we'll have a chance to talk about it depending on how much time you have. Obviously, you probably have like half an hour, but whatever it is, we'll manage. Um, but what I did, I just pulled up. I'm going to show it to you. I pulled up a website. You don't have to worry about reading it. I'm going to read it, but I pulled up like a first website on Google, and it looks like it was a list of 10 things. And I just want to be able to go through these things with you and just kind of get your take on some of these points. And I will, of course, acknowledge my prototype community in a moment once we start talking about it. But the first point in this The name of the article is "Signs He Has Bad Intentions with You." And the first point is he insists he's a nice guy. It says this type of guy who before you are even halfway through the date claims he's a nice guy or not like the rest. Have you seen those? Do you think this legitimate? Do you think
Yeah,
that this has value or
of
validity to this?
course.
Talk to me.
This is what this is called patting yourself on the head. Good, I'm a good boy. No, but in all honesty, like whenever someone is says that there's something, they talk about themselves in a particular way, they're trying to convince you of something rather than letting their actions speak for themselves. And when I meet people at first, I'm not as how can I say it? I don't necessarily wear my heart on my sleeve. With my close friends, like I'll open up. But when you first meet people, you have to watch how they behave, and your words are part of your behavior, but you can't just take what people say at face value. And if someone's saying, for example, yeah, I'm honest, I'm the most honest person you'll ever meet, whatever it is, put a little extra attention on that and see if they're right. Most of the time, from what I can tell, if someone is honest, they're just going to be honest. They don't have to keep saying, I'm honest, I'm going to be honest, and all that stuff. And it's the same thing with being a nice guy. If you're a nice guy, if you like opening doors for people, if you put others before you because that's who you are, that's fine. But to have to go and market yourself or to, promote yourself as someone who's a nice person, there's something behind that. You're trying to get a reward already for a nice act without having to be nice first. You're just saying that you're nice and trying to get a reward. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and it seems to me that if you're truly a nice guy, actions speak louder than words. People can see what you do. I don't think you have to really tell people who you are. Your actions can lead the way.
Yes, 100%.
Let me go ahead and acknowledge my people. Huge shout out. Well, I don't even know how I should do it because there's some. Let's just go in order. Heather is in the house. Hello, thank you for being here, and thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that very, very much. Jamie is in the house. Hello, thank you for hanging out. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Felicia is in the house. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for super chat as well. We have Bryna in the house. Hi, Bryna. How are you? Thank you for being here. Cheyenne is in the house. Thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate all the birthday wishes, everyone. Ruby is in the house. Super, super happy to see you. Hazy is in the house. Hello. How are you? Looks like we have Agata in the house, Indonesia in the house. Hello. Thank you for hanging out. Super, super excited to see every single one of you here. So let's go on and move to number 2. And by the way, community, just start commenting your thoughts on this. The first point, he insists he's a nice guy. If you had any situations with that, or if you have some thoughts, please leave me a comment on that. All right. We're going to go to the point number 2 that they're highlighting in this article. He is superficial. Does he have the looks? Yes. But when he starts bragging about his muscles or hair, he's superficial because you can see those things. Why would he feel the need to state that? Because he's superficial. It probably doesn't have much else going for him. Being superficial, is it an issue?
It can be. I mean, I think at some level we all focus on the surface of things, the first impression. We like to see how people are dressed, how people are groomed, whether you smell nice. But when you go and you start flaunting your six-pack abs all the time and you're not at the beach, if you're at the beach, all right, you get a pass, you're at the pool. But if you're hanging out on a coffee date with someone and you're just like, hey, check out my abs. I did some sit-ups this morning. That might be funny the first time, but you do that enough, it's like, all right, well, this person might be insecure and they need to get, approval. They need to get some sort of compliment on their physique, and that could be a red flag, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think in terms of personality, it could be a tricky thing. I can see how many people can be turned off by superficial people. I'm curious if, being superficial has direct correlation to having bad intentions. I mean, perhaps to some extent it could be, but I'm not so sure it has direct correlation. So, because I feel like a lot of guys could be superficial, but they just love themselves, maybe, or that's the way they go through life. So on this one, I'm kind of on the fence, to be honest with you. So let's go to number three. Number three is he keeps things vague. So this kind of goes with number two. He keeps things vague, too vague. For example, he just talks about the bigger picture of things, not much detail. He's keeping things vague because he wants to make sure you don't know too much about him because he doesn't plan on sticking around. What's your take on that?
That's a good one. I mean, whether it's related to bad intentions, I don't know. But I think if a guy is being very vague, or some people like to talk about the big picture and how everything comes together, but you shouldn't be shy from talking about specific things, specific goals, and specific interests that you have. Hey, where do you hang out? Oh, just in the city. Just generally. Oh,
Mm.
where do you work? I work over there. That's okay. That might be a red flag, but um, there's a big difference between being a big picture person and someone who really likes focusing on the details. I mean, I think the world is probably split in half along that dimension.
You know what? When a person is vague, that could mean a couple different things, in my opinion. It could mean that the person is an introvert, and maybe person is not keen on solid communication. I can see that being the case. Person not willing to share, person could be socially awkward too. Let's just face it. But on the other hand, there's could be a chance where person is like trying to hide something, where he's intentionally not, just communicating all the information because there's something that he doesn't want another person to know. So I deem it as one of the potential signs. I don't necessarily look at it as the overarching reason, but I can see it being is one of the signs. If you have this in addition to other signs, I would be more concerned, you know? Um, and we talk about really vetting somebody out, meaning that, is this guy, can you kind of get an idea from the interaction? Is this person, generally speaking, introverted in nature? Or I see more signs now, and this is just one of the signs. So just a couple things to consider with this point. Let's go to the next one. He's needy. He's super clingy. Not much to explain here, but if you go out with friends and he's blowing your phone up and he ends up angry if you don't reply, he's just trying to control you. Some of these guys will even go as far as trying to make you feel guilty for going out without him. What about them needy people?
That's a good one, and that's an interesting follow-up example because it also depends what kind of agreement you have with the person, right? I mean, if we're strictly talking about the initial dating phase where there's no formal, mutually exclusive agreement where it's like, hey, like, we're not seeing other people, I'm not talking about that, all right? If we're just going to talk strictly about the initial dating phase where you're getting to know someone, then yes, I mean, if someone's telling you you can't go out with your friends, you need to stop talking to that person.
Right.
You're not even in a formal relationship with them and they're already trying to control your behavior. That's not a good sign. Usually, like that, in my experience, that kind of behavior comes out of fear. someone has issues that they haven't dealt with, where they feel like if they don't control people's behavior, then they're out of control, or they experience a sense of loss. That's their issue. Don't let their issue become your issue.
Needy guys. I mean, like, if we are talking about male in particular, to me, it's absolutely a red flag. To me, when I think of a man, man should be able to solve his problems, whatever that is. You know, if you need something, go get what you need. I don't think that, especially in the context of dating, you should be really talking and pouring your heart out to another woman about your problems. You need to try to figure out solutions to your problems. Yeah, I mean, you can mention it. You can mention, generally speaking, you can mention like what you're going through, and like what's going on in your life, but not being clingy, you know, not asking for help. Not at that stage of the interaction, in my opinion. So I do see it is, I think it's too early. I think it's too premature. And even if you've been dating for a while, I just have this perception of man that the man needs to find a solution. Man should be the one, and I'm not saying that women can as well, but I think men should take horns and be that leader all the time. So if I see a man who is complaining in the beginning, that just shows me like he is maybe not mature enough. Maybe he's just not mentally there, to do that. And I'm not impressed.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Number 5, his way or the highway. He gets angry or refuses plans unless it's on his term because he wants to make sure he has the power on where you go, so he knows he can plan something you probably do not agree with. A real genuine guy would want the dates and activities to be stuff you enjoy as well. Oh, this is a big one. This is a real big one because, I think that women say that often. And when it comes to Russian men, I hear that in comments, not all the time, but more often than I would like, that men are controlling, men trying to be kind of like aggressive at times. Um, have you come across, do you have any friends who portray that type of behavior, or have you heard anything along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think that many women are attracted to a man with a strong masculine frame. So they sort of, like, these kind of men will own their experience, own their day, and there's a difference between having a strong frame and knowing what you want your day to look like, and being just angry about things not going your way, which is different. Because you can have a strong frame and still be adaptable, right? Um, I and I also think it's important for like both people to be having fun. If you're on a date, you should be having fun. Otherwise, why are you doing it? It shouldn't be that much work. Um, and so, if you like to go if you're a thrill seeker, for example, and you like to go skydiving, you like to go on roller coasters, you like to, whatever, go whitewater rafting and rock climbing, and you're trying to date people who are not like that and they avoid thrills, then you're probably going to get a strong reaction. I mean, there's people who are afraid of heights, they're afraid of danger. So if you try to get with somebody who's like, hey, no, like, we cannot do that, we cannot do this, maybe they have a genuine fear. Uh, I mean, it's good to find people with common interests. You're going to have a lot easier time having fun together. Um, yeah.
You know what's really I've been thinking about as you were talking is this probably like an old school way of handling relationships, because I think nowadays, the present world that we're living in, we are we have the luxury of being free, at least in the United States of America. We talk about United States right now, but everybody watching in the rest of the world, hopefully, I truly hope and pray that you also free in, you not being suppressed by the regime or the government or whatever entity in your country. But so with that being said, I think that trying to be controlling of everyone, it's a short-term solution. It's just not conducive for a long-term success, because nobody wants to be bossed around. Nobody wants to be told what to do. um, I think human beings respond a lot more positively to positive emotions that can be, um, I guess, produced as a result of the relationship. So the other words, the example could be, if I make you feel valued, or if I make you feel, I don't want to say necessarily special, but because special is a strong word, but if you feel valued and you feel joyful from the interaction that we've had, chances are you're going to be willing to repeat that interaction. And I think a reasonable person will be drawn to these positive emotions over and over again, right? And so I think that the when you look at the long-term way to approach relationship, a healthy way, it's where both people want to be there naturally, because they get some sort of value exchange from that interaction. They both having fun, they both feeling love, they both feeling joy, things of that matter. So for that reason, I don't believe that being being aggressive and being bossy is the best thing to do. Now, I agree with you, Mike. I think there are ways to um, be masculine. If you're a masculine man, you can make decisions. You can plan dates. You can take initiative to take care of a lot of different things. You can open the door. I think you might have mentioned it. You can bring flowers. I mean, you can be that protector, be the shield, be the man who will take a lot of matters in his hands. But I do not believe it's the same thing as my way or highway, you know?
Yeah, there are very few instances where I would tell someone, whether it's I'm dating them or not, tell someone it's, we have to do things this way now. Like, it had to be an emergency situation, you know. But other than that, it's nice to cooperate with people. It's good to have a plan to fall back on. But if someone's really excited about doing something, and you support them in that, and you have the time and energy, beautiful things can happen that you don't expect. So you have to kind of allow room for adventure as well. And someone who's always trying to control situations, and make things go only their way, that's, to me, that's a sign of somebody who's very rigid, doesn't know how to adapt. And I think it's also based in fear. It's, hey, I will not feel okay if we do things someone else's way.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Let's go to the next one. Number six. Number six, you wonder if he has any self control. When you guys are in public and he's always grabbing you or rubbing up against you, even after you tell him no, you begin to wonder if he has any self control at all. When you think his thought, when you think this thought, run, because he probably does not. Self control. Have you ever had issue with self control? Like when you're out in public with your woman and you just can't get your hands off of her? And I guess, is it different? I guess more relevant question: is it different when you just start dating, and if you've been together for a while? Because I mean, if you've been together for a while, it could be like a playful thing, like, right? Oh, I can't uh, keep my hands off because your hands are looking really, really pretty and your skin is looking really great today. Um, AKA maybe it's other part of the body. I don't know. But but as far as the beginning of dating, maybe there's I think there's something to it, right? Because you got to be able to control yourself, especially in the beginning of it. What do you take on that?
So my take on this is, before we talk about self-control, we need to talk about what are healthy boundaries. Because what are you controlling yourself from? Like, what are the parameters, right? So if you're on a first date and let's say you're at the movies, right? And you've built a little bit of rapport and you put your arm around this person, if they're not pushing back and they welcome it, cool. Like that's fine. Like their boundaries are on the same page as yours. If you try to hold their hand, they move their hand away, then that's the boundary that they're setting, right? And if you try it again and they pull their hand back again, then it's like either you're not aware that that's a boundary or you have no self control. And so, that could be a problem, when I think of self control, I, I think that definitely it's more about honoring a boundary than about willpower. Unless I don't know, man. I mean, some people really have no self control, and then especially when they have a few drinks, the self control goes out the window, and that's when things really get out of hand. But it's an interesting topic as well.
No, it's a very valuable point you brought up because, being able to read the situation is critical. Because in this instance, the person tells you no. So I think you can actually gauge a lot by even body language. So to your point, if somebody draws their hand away from you when you try to grab them, that's already should tell you, oh, like they're not feeling it, this is a no-go. But you continue to do that, that obviously escalates the situation, that makes it worse. But when person, like if you're unable to read body language by itself, understand the language, right? If somebody tells you no, or they clearly communicate what they don't want you to do, you got to be able to more or less, respect that, and because otherwise you're gonna get in a lot of trouble. Um, so yeah,
Yep.
I do see that this is a pretty significant one, especially in the beginning. Let's go to number 7. Number 7 is he lies. This type of guy will lie, even about the smallest things, or he will say something, but then later on, he says something different. Other words, he just spins his words around, and you don't know what is the truth or lies. Get away from him because, well, why would you want to be with someone like that anyway? I'm gonna start on this one, Mike. I think that this one, this is the strongest one so far. For me, that's no brainer at all. I mean, like I was just sharing with you earlier about dating someone who is a liar, and there's no place for it even when you've been together. I think there's no place for it even when you deepen the relationship. God forbid you have family with them. Now I don't suggest that, you know people just don't turn into liars. Maybe it's a one lie. So there are different situations. Maybe it's not just the person who's just continued to tell you lies. Maybe they lied about one instance. But when you date someone in the beginning and they starting a relationship with lies, I just don't know how you can recover from it. I don't quite see the solution here. I mean, well, I see the solution. Solution is to kick him to the curb. That's the solution, and or leave a relationship. In any event, this is not a situation that I want to find myself in, because if person starts out like this, because in the beginning, this is supposed to be the time and the place where you are on your base behavior. You're not comfortable with another person yet. You don't have developed rapport with another person. You haven't established, sound connection with the person. So you starting out with the lies, um, that just speaks louder than words. That tells me I need to run away.
Yeah, I mean, there, one of the foundations to a strong relationship is trust. Trust goes hand in hand with your reputation. It's your reputation with yourself and your reputation with your partner. And if you don't have honesty, you don't have trust, because you build your image of it when you're getting to know a person. You build your image of that person in your mind, based off of your interactions with them, their words, their actions, whether they follow through on their words, that sort of thing. Now, there's mistakes, there's forgetfulness, there's all that stuff. If you say something and you don't follow through, maybe you are a forgetful person. All right. But if you purposefully say something that isn't true and you lie to someone else, you're basically, in my opinion, if somebody lies to me and I find out, I am automatically, I'm like, all right, that person has a problem. Because, first of all, in order to lie, you have to be afraid of the truth. And in other words, you don't want the truth to stand. Like, the truth is, you don't like it, right? So you, what you do is you create a fiction, you create a fake story, and you tell somebody that, and that's disrespectful, in my opinion. Somebody lies, that's disrespect. That's saying like, hey man, there's no trust between us, so I'm just gonna lie to you. And
Yeah.
I laugh because I find it funny, because for me, like, as soon as I find out someone is a liar, I'm like, all right, dude, or girl, you have no chance. Like, you have no chance in establishing any kind of trust with me. You're like, you automatically get the stiff arm. Like, you're gonna be way over there, and I'm probably not gonna talk to you. Um, and that's, I mean, and I think it's important to surround yourself with people who you trust, because if you don't have trust, then what do you have? You know, it's just a warm body. It's just someone there talking. You might as well just talk to the TV. You know, um, so that's what I have to say about that.
Do you have time for three more?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, cool. Let's go to number 8. He hides you. He hides you from the details of his life, his friends, and his family. He does this to keep you at a distance because he doesn't have any intentions of keeping you around. Woo! All right, so I'll be honest. I've dated some people in the past that I had no intentions introducing to my friends, no intentions introducing to my family. I liked spending time with them. It was fun, but I did not see them as a potential serious partner for a serious relationship. Now, look, that doesn't necessarily, you know, for some of you or for some individuals out there who want a different type of relationship, this might not be make or break. You might be on the same page about this, in fact, you know. But I think for other people who are looking for a long term relationship, who really want to create a deep connection and who want to end up being married, I think this is something to consider. Because if person truly likes you, and person really proud of you, and person doesn't have anything to hide, the question becomes why person doesn't why this person does not include you in other aspects of his life. You know, because I can think of instance when I dated a person in college, and she introduced me to all her friends and made me part of her environment, you know? And I actually felt really good about it. I felt welcomed and I felt accepted. And that made me appreciate her in a different way. That made me feel like she wanted me in her life, you know? And I think it's important, man. What do you think?
yeah. Well, so there's some people who are very comfortable having a large community, and there's other people who are more reserved, right? So you have to kind of make that distinction. What kind of person are they, you know? And nowadays you can tell a lot based off of somebody's social media presence. You can see, you know, do they like hanging out in large groups or not, or is it lots of posts and pictures of just themselves and their pet? Um, if you're hanging out with somebody and immediately they're like, oh yeah, we're, you know, my friends are having a party or we're meeting up here, you should come, like, you should just come, like, it's usually good vibes, somebody who's comfortable with a lot of people. um, Now, the whole topic of like, if someone is hiding you from their personal life, um, nowadays in hookup culture, I think that that can be very prevalent, because people, we want to put things in different boxes, and then there's like the hookup box, and you know, things are segregated, right? So I don't know, man. Like, I think it's different for everybody. If you if you are talking to somebody for an extended period of time, say for like longer than 3 months, and you've never met a single one of their friends, and they have friends that you know they have friends and they hang out with them, they have family nearby and stuff. That's probably a red flag. If you want something serious with them. Um, but some people are also very reserved. It might just take them a longer time to accept bringing you into their life. Maybe someone who's been jaded, and they say, you know what, from now on, I'm gonna wait a year before I introduce my partner to, like, someone I'm dating, to my personal life. And so, it's good to have a discussion, and just kind of see where it goes. Ask questions about their friends and family, and see what they say. Just kind of be observant. But yeah, definitely if somebody's making intentional efforts to keep you away from their friends and family, it could be a red flag, I would say.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point about having these conversations ahead of time. So, example is, let's say you're a female that went on a date with a male, and for you as a female, it's important to be included in his inner circle, family, friends, what have you, fairly shortly once you start dating, right? I think I would be communicating that information, and not to say like, hey, I need to be part of this, right? But I would say, hey, this is one of the things that I really would like out of the relationship, right? What are your thoughts on this? And let them speak his mind. If he's going to tell a female that, hey, I've been through this, and this is another thing, this is why this is, I think, a little bit complicated, because it both parties need to be able to take steps towards each other in that sense. And a lot of times people, even one person doesn't take that step, right? So what I'm saying is, if a female in this case needs to be able to initiate the communication and actually say that, because that's important to her, right? A male in this case would need to be able to not shut down, but to say, hey, right now this is how I feel because, and communicate his part, right? And then afterwards, I believe that, let's say you establish the fact that he's not comfortable right now putting you in this situation, putting you in his immediate surrounding inner circle. Um, then if you observe later that he is, even though you gave him kindness, you give him confidence, you gave him respect, you gave him love, and you treat him the best way you possibly could, even with all those things, he's not opening it up even a little bit, right? If he's not willing to, maybe you make two steps towards him. If he's not able to make one step towards you, whatever it is, maybe he's introduced you to one friend, not family yet, but one friend, right? If he's not able to do any of that, then I think at this point you really have to wonder, because at that point you've given him a lot, but he hasn't given you much of anything, right? So now, like, we went 2 to 3 steps deep. It's no longer just about initial conversation. It's uncovering how this initial conversation should take place. Maybe there should be like a follow-up reminders, not nagging. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Not saying every week, hey, remember you promised me this, you promised me this, you're not doing this. No, observe, how is he behaving. Maybe every month you say, hey, how are your friends doing? I mean, do you want to grab lunch maybe with your friends? There's different way to accomplish the same result. We talked about it before. So I think everyone should be a little bit wiser. Everyone should be able to read other person's energy. If other person is not willing, as opposed to pushing, person already not willing. If you push, person going to shut down even more. Person is not willing, gentle question, hey, how are your friends doing? Do you want to visit with them? Maybe we can have lunch with them. No, okay, step back, continue to be kind, continue work. You might get to a point where, like, okay, he's not willing to do anything, so I really have to make a decision if, you know what's the next step is going to be. I'm not sitting here telling you that I have it all laid out and that I know all the answers, but at least I think in the beginning how to approach that, it seems reasonable to me.
Right.
I think there's two more.
And this is the importance too, because there's a difference between the way a man would give advice and a woman would give advice to someone they care about. Men are a lot more direct, and we try to be honest and accurate. Whereas when women are giving advice, from my experience, they're giving advice they tend to cater to people's emotions more. If someone's like feeling sad, they're going to try to make them a little bit happier or console them rather than just attack them with truth and honesty. They women have a more balanced approach when it comes to that. Where there's pros and cons too, because if you're stuck in a bad spot, what do you want more? To feel good or to get out of the bad spot? You might want to, you might be feeling so bad that you're paralyzed. And in that case, okay, maybe you do need to get your emotions taken care of a little bit. But at some point, if you're stuck in a bad spot, you have to get yourself out of the bad spot. And in order to do that, you need honest feedback from people who care about you and love you. And it's almost on you to seek that feedback from people and say, hey, look, I want the brutal honesty. I want to know what you honestly think. You're not going to offend my feelings. I want to make this situation better, and I need outside perspective from somebody who cares about me but is emotionally detached from this problem. So in order to do that, I think that you also need to enter, you need to create space for that kind of conversation to happen. With guys, it's implied, like, I don't know if you've ever noticed with me, Yuri, but we're having a conversation and you're talking to me about a problem and I identify it as a problem. I'll tell you, okay, well, that seems like a problem. This is what I think the solution is, and I'll just go in da da da, and I'll give you like all this analysis.
Right.
If you tell that to a woman, she might laugh with you. You know, she might try to ask you more questions and figure out how you feel and stuff, and that's good too. But I think you need both. You need to balance your heart, where like with the center of your emotion, with your brain, which is like logical analysis, so that you can actually cut out the bullshit. It's basically what it is. There's a lot of stuff that's not working, and you need to be able to identify that and cut it out and replace it with stuff that does work.
Good points. Good points. Good points. We have just a couple more. Number 9. You don't know who he is. When the date is over and you are thinking, who is this guy really? I don't I don't much about I don't it's supposed to be I don't know, I suppose. I don't know much about him except his big ego. Hmm. Look, I think it's a big, big one. If you don't know anything about a guy, and again, are we talking like first, second date? Um, but if you don't know anything, if you feel like you're getting away from these dates without having any idea, that's a big thing for me. That means that either he does not necessarily know how to communicate well, or he does not want to, or that could mean um, maybe he has something to hide for real. There's something that he just does not want you to know. Um, Maybe that means he has alternative motives. And I think man need to be able to understand that, you know men need to be able to understand this basic premise of communication when they go on a date. um I don't think that good sound communication and being able to share a little bit about yourself is a vulnerable thing to do. I think it's a good thing to do. Doesn't mean you need to pour your life out to someone, but it just means you can give somebody an overview of who you are, like a snapshot, kind of like a resume. um, you have to create your dating resume. How about that? When you're applying to job, to work, you create a resume. You tell people what you did in your previous years of career. But when you go on a date, if you acting like you're a ghost, what do you expect? Do you expect people to like you? You can't be a ghost. You need to prepare a freaking dating resume, man.
Yeah. So on a first date, when you first meet somebody, in my opinion, the focus should be on having fun and figuring out if this person is on your same like energy level. Like, do you mesh well with them? Is there chemistry, right? I would reserve the interview portion of it to later dates, right? The first date should just be getting to know this person's through their body language, through your interactions with them. Like, it doesn't mean that the person's not going to tell you who they are. Like, hey, you know, you had a username on your profile. What's your real name? And the guy's like, the name's Bond, James Bond. You know, like he can be a complete like unknown person, right? Uh, but there's not going to be a whole lot of attraction if you sit down and the guy literally pulls out his resume. Like, here's everything you need to know about me, right? There's a balance. Um,
When
that
I
being said,
say resume, but hold on, when I say resume, I don't mean you need to pull it out and give it to them.
yeah, I know I was being sarcastic.
Right, right, right. I just mean you need to have like a list of things. If you don't know what to say or how to say it, or if you kind of confused about what you should share, just jot down a few things. It sounds ridiculous, but create that resume
Yes,
for yourself. It's kind of like a
yes,
roadmap. At least I can talk about this thing so I don't look like I do have something to hide or come across as I don't know how to communicate.
yeah, yeah. I think as a man, you should know yourself and where you're headed in life. You should know exactly where you stand, where you came from, and where you're going. And when you're giving responses, when you're talking on a first, second, third date, your answers to those very like resume like things should be short. They shouldn't be blank either, though, right? But you shouldn't go into super detail about your life story unless you're telling it in a fun way that's engaging the other person and it's engaging their emotions and all that stuff. Um, because again, I think women are a lot more in touch with their emotions and stuff. And if you're going into your head the whole time during a date, it's not going to be very much fun for another person. So it's and some women might be different as well. Like there might be some very analytical women listening to this chat right now, and so you probably will think differently. But if to the point on the article, if somebody is if you don't know anything about the person and this is your 10th date, that's a big red flag.
Mhm.
That's the point. You should already know what that person's about by the time you're on the 10th date. First, second, third date, you get a pass because you're just getting to know the person. You don't want to be awkward and like just sit down and spill your life story. Sometimes it might happen, but most of the time, you should just be focused on having fun. But if you're a couple months into dating, 2, 3 months in, you should pretty much know where that person stands. And if you don't, you should ask yourself, why don't you know?
And I want to, so I love the points that you brought up. I want to bring up another thing that I think is huge. In addition to number 8, and I kind of forgot as we were going through it, but number 8, he hides you, right? What I think happens that one sign that you recognize actually is you have to ask a question: does he hide himself? Meaning that if you're trying to take a picture with him, if you're trying to be in a public place with him, does he shy away from those things? Because I can tell you, I know people in the from the past who did that, and those people did not have pure intentions. So when somebody, and again, I'm not saying it's just guys. When it happens both ways, when women or men do that, when they don't want to be in videos and pictures, they don't want to sit in public with you, they act like they just want to be with you in public private places, I mean, and that's the extent of your interaction. Be mindful of that. That could mean many different things. This could mean that this person has someone else. This could mean that this person is not interested in anything of value, of substance with you. And this could mean that this person has potentially bad intentions, you know? So the reason I bring this example up is because I've seen a show. It was a show on the Russian television where a guy scammed a woman for her apartment, and then like they were showing how every time that they were filming him, like either friends or whatever, he would turn around, his back would be facing camera because he would not want to be on camera. He would not his face to be seen because he knew in his mind that he was going to scam that woman to begin with, so this is a big, big red flag. I want everybody to be aware of. If you're dating anyone, doesn't matter the gender. Again, if you're dating a person who is doing those type of things, he's hiding himself from a public eye and from cameras, from being seen with you. Um, this is something to really pay attention to, in my opinion. Number 10, last one, trust your gut. In the end, always trust your gut. Your instincts will guide you and lead you to what is really going on around you. Pay attention. I think Michael is dropped off, but we'll talk about this. We'll talk about trusting your gut. Look, we have intuition for a reason. There's this inner voice that we have inside of us that if you pay attention to it, it will tell you, it will give you signs. It will literally will say sometimes, it will give you a signal like, hey, something is not right. Something is not right. Something is not right about this person. Something is not right about this situation. If we just ignore these signs, sometimes we pay price dearly. Look, I don't know what it is. I don't know what this intuition is. Sometimes I think it's God. Sometimes I think it's God speaking through some sort of conscious. But it's there. It's there. Mike, I just started talking about intuition in regards to number 10. So I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know what it's there. And I know if you listen to it, if you pay attention, it will give you those signs. I'll give you an example. Um, Many years ago, I had to get a new vehicle, and I went to this dealership in Jacksonville, and they were trying to sell me. Any of you who ever bought a vehicle, you know what this process could be like. You come to a dealership, and sometimes it's just not the most straightforward process. Sometimes you feel like it's borderline shady. So they, they tried to sell me this used Mustang, um, Ford Mustang with the manual transmission. And at the time, I didn't drive manual transmission. And at the time, I was young and kind of naive. And they basically, I was thinking about the monthly payment. And at first, when they showed me the monthly payment, I was like, no, that's too high. And so manager was like, well, how much would you like to pay? Like, if we can get you that monthly payment, would you be interested? I was like, well, maybe. So like they crunched the numbers and they gave me the monthly payment that I asked them for. And then um, they start preparing paperwork like right away. Everything's happened so quickly. I'm like, I feel like, whoa, like I feel like I just came in and they're already doing all that. And then I was sitting there waiting, right? And then my there was something inside me saying like, no, you got to get out. That just doesn't feel right. You got to get out. Like it feels like a scam. That feels like a bad deal, you know, that you're getting. Also, at the time, my uncle worked at the dealership, so I ended up with Honda, brand new Honda instead, Honda Accord. You know, that was back long time ago. But so long story short, I just walked out without signing the papers, right? And then like the manager ended up running after me before I could leave. My friend drove me, and then before I could get in the friend's car, manager came out and like, hold on, you didn't sign it. And I was like, I know, bye. He was not happy about it. But the bottom line, the reason I'm giving you this example is that sometimes it happens in a random time. That voice, it will tell you, that innate feeling, it will give you a signal like, hey, this is not okay. This is something is it feels off in here. Walk away from it or get away from it. I think more often than not, that feeling is correct because it's not necessarily a logical feeling. It's a what we're talking about is a gut feeling. It's a feeling that comes from your tummy that moves through your rib cage and start hanging out somewhere around your heart area, and then it finally goes to your head eventually, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think it's real, man.
Yeah, I think it is, Will. I mean, obviously it depends if you're socially calibrated. You can trust your intuition even more. Um, I trust my intuition a lot. I actually trust my intuition more than I trust like my thoughts or whatnot. But whenever I have an intuition, if I have time, I'll look into it. Like, all right, let's find out why my intuition is telling me this, and I'll look into it. If you don't have a lot of time and you have
You have to trust your intuition. I would say go with it. Now there is like a downside to the intuition if you're not socially calibrated. Let's say something very traumatic happened to you, and now you're always on guard, and your intuition is always having your guard up, and you're always, anytime you've gone on 20 dates, and every single one of those 20 dates, within the first 20 minutes your intuition is telling you you got to leave, this is not good. In those situations, well, you might want to go and get like some counseling. Like you might want to go and figure out why you're not able to relax around meeting new people. you know so you know in most cases, I would say your intuition is probably something you should trust. Probably, I mean, in every case. Now, if your intuition is always telling you the same thing and it's not leading you down a path that you want, then you probably want to get some additional, guidance on that.
Recalibration is needed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you want to be calibrated. You want to be, and this is where good role models come from. Like, who do you hang out with? Because if you're, that's how you're gonna be the most socially calibrated. Is if you have high quality friends, people you look up to and admire, people you respect, people who have quality. If you make friends with people who have qualities that you want to develop in yourself, this is one of the best ways to fast track yourself. For example, me, like when I was a lot younger, I was very introverted. It was very difficult for me to open up to people and talk to people. And so I decided that, hey, like I'm going to make friends with very, like, extremely sociable people. My Andre was one of the first people that was like that. And he was, somebody who was very sociable, had lots of friends, seemed very good natured, was very kind to everyone. I was like, you know what? I need to be around this person more. Let me see how it can be of value to this person and become kind of like their friend. And then, it was genuine. I wasn't trying to like get something, it wasn't manipulative. I was just like, yeah, I want to be around this person, figure out and study them. Like, how do they do this? And it's the same thing about any other quality that you want. Like, if you want to learn how to date a certain kind of person and you want to be around a certain kind of person,
Uh-oh. You still here? If you want to date as a good or certain type of person, come back. Come back. Mike, we're losing you.
are we good?
Hold on. I think I can hear you, but I
Oh,
cannot,
hello.
like your image is still. Try to jump back. Let's see.
What
Can
about
you hear
now?
me?
Yes.
I can't hear you, but I cannot see you.
You can't see me?
I can't see you.
Oh, well,
It's just
so just to
it,
finish the thought, if you want to date
yeah.
a certain kind of person and you can make friends with someone who is in a relationship with that kind of person, and you can be friends with them, you can pick their brains on like how they met, what the person is interested in, how do you approach someone like that, because there are different kinds of people. There's archetypes in this world. Like when you talk about, like, for example, there's a set of four archetypes which are very common in different men, different masculine men. There is there's the warrior type, there's the magician type, the lover, and the king. King, warrior, magician, lover. Those are the four really big archetypes that men have, and women might be attracted to a specific kind. Like if you're attracted to the warrior, this is someone who likes to fight their own battles, is a very strong-willed person, where they're going to have a specific way to approach them that's going to be different from, say like the lover. They're all like a little ball of love. They just love. They'll bring you flowers. They'll take you on dates. They'll wine and dine you. They'll tell you sweet nothings, etc. There might be a different approach that you have to take with that person than with the warrior. So, if you make friends with people that are in the kinds of situations that you want to be in, or that have the certain personality types that you want to develop in yourself, uh, that's one of the best ways to do it. And just hang around with them, and you'll just naturally start to see how you can unlock that in yourself.
Before you go, let me know what are your most impactful ones. I'm gonna scroll up so you can see all of them to do a recap, and you tell me what, because I know what mine are, so I want to hear what yours. So number one, he insists he's a nice guy. Number two, he's superficial. Number three, he keeps things vague. Number four, he's needy. Number five, his way or the highway. Number six, you wonder if he has any self control. Number seven, he lies. Number eight, he hides you. Number nine, you don't know who he is. And number 10, trust your gut.
For me, I think the biggest red flag on whether someone has bad intentions in this case would be if they hide, if they, never introduce you to their friends, they never want to hang out with your friends, they never, especially if they're avoiding taking pictures. I mean, this is not to say you're gonna like live stream every date, but if you just want to take a simple picture and the person's like, don't, like that's a huge red flag, because it's like, all right, well, what is your intention? Unless you're just a very carefree person, you don't care. But if you want a relationship eventually, like, they should want to include you in their life, and they should feel comfortable you including them in your life as well. So to me, that's probably the biggest sign. um if it's someone that just wants to Netflix and chill, they might be one of those people. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, I would combine seven, eight, and nine. I would say if he lies, if he hides you, and if you don't know who he is, if you see any of those, I would really take a look, take a closer look and harder look at what's going on, because these things just major, in my opinion. These things tell a bigger story. These things scream that there's something going on below the surface there. And I think those things not to be ignored. My friend, my dear friend, I think this was awesome discussion. I think that will help definitely some people to conceptualize some of these concepts. um, Remember, everyone, this is not exact science. This is concerning human psyche and human behavior, which could be adjusted, could be changed, could be adapted. So we're just trying to stay above water over here and give our best piece of advice to everyone. But Michael, my dear friend, thank you for taking the time
Thank
during
you,
your ride back.
and
Thank you
happy
for
birthday to you, good sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and hanging out with all of us. Have an amazing day, man.
All right, brother, you too, have a great day.
Take care, brother.
All right, see ya.
Bye. Amazing stuff as always. Let me go through some comments before we get out of here. Uh, Hello, Becky. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Becky said trauma can definitely throw off your intuition for a while. Yeah, interesting thought. I can see how this could be the case, because this could kind of overwhelm us depending on the trauma. This could become the main point or main uh, emphasis on what's really going on in our mind. um, so ideally, if you can avoid one, that's the best case scenario. If you can't avoid one, I think it's just learning. Some trauma, like losing a loved one, is a big trauma. Like time, right? Time will heal. If you need a therapist, if you need to talk to someone, do that. Find a way to heal, in terms of what's available to you. Some things will be naturally done, and some things sometimes need additional assistance with other people and other tools. Cheyenne said, my gut tells me a guy isn't interested, but sometimes I ignore it knowing the truth. Even if he's being flirting, doing some things, he's just leading you on and you can feel he is tricking you. So it sounds like it's an intentional choice to ignore the truth, right? Um, just realize that you are aware of consequences, right? As long as you're aware of consequences and you're willing to deal with the consequences or handle the consequences, that's really your choice, right? Hello, Amira. Thanks for being here. Amira said the worst people to be with in the relationship are those who can't keep from lying. Oh, I agree with that. Oh my God. I have a video that with this true story. It's labeled true story. Me holding a broken heart. What I talk about um, a person that I dated that lied, and that was devastating. That was a devastating experience. My friend, thank you so much. Thank you so much for a super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you and love you. This is amazing support. This guy drove to Orlando. This guy, you know, bought me dinner. This guy took me out. This guy gave me wisdom. This guy bought me breakfast. This guy came on my live chat, gave more wisdom, spent time, and he donated. What a friend you are, my friend. Surround yourself with amazing people, and you're going to be better off as a result. Thank you, my friend. Let's let's continue. I think we have a few more comments. We already looked at that one. Um, right back at you, Brian. I love the conversation in the chat. Thank you for being so kind and considerate to one another. That's what really makes it amazing. Some red flags are from ourselves. Sometimes we will keep being drawn to certain qualities that are familiar slash comfortable, even if it's not safe or healthy. This is, yeah, uh, this is good. I think if you like certain things in a person and you having a hard time, even though maybe those, deep inside, maybe these qualities are not the best qualities for you, and you've been burned maybe before on on people with these qualities, but you still desire these qualities deep inside, and you still trying to allow yourself, not allow yourself, you still overriding these instincts, right? And still going for these qualities. This could be potentially more pain down the line. This could be more pain. Your mother in the house, what's up? Thanks for being here. Flirting doesn't phase me. Amira said, yeah, my father gave me this name so he can make OG him a king. OG? Okay. Not sure exactly what. Maybe sometimes I'm just not good at comments, you guys. Forgive me for that. I'm connecting a lot of what you're saying. I have a lot of past trauma. I think to an extent, all of us do, right? Indigo, thank you so much for your birthday wish. Thank you, every single one of you, for your birthday wishes. It means so, so, so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, your mother. Let's see. I mean, I think we kind of finalize it. We put a cap on it, on this conversation. I think it was a good one. We took the first article that we could find and we went through these 10 things. I think all of them are important to an extent. I don't personally place as much value on he insists he's a nice guy, he's superficial, he keeps things vague. He's needy is a little bit more, in my opinion. Like if he's needy, I don't appreciate that quality. And let's talk both genders, he or she. It's not just about males. It's about, although the article saying signs he has bad intentions, but let's just talk about both genders, okay? So to me, if she's needy, I'm not a fan of it either. I don't think it's a good situation. Um, he or she, uh, her way, his way, or highway, don't like that at all. I think that's becoming more of a red flag zone for me. Um, and then really If you wonder if he or she has any self-control, that's danger zone. He lies, that's danger zone. He hides you or she hides you, danger zone. You don't know who she is, danger zone. So the last four for me, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, they are danger zone, screaming red flags all day, every day. So I think we can take that. We can take that and we can build on that. You know, we can be aware of these signs when we come to first date, second date, third date. And of course, down the line, of if you're in a committed relationship and the person lies, or if he hides something from you, those are still significant bad, bad red flags, no doubt about it. Hopefully, by the time you're together for 6 month, year or more, you know who or she is. But if any of these things going on even further down in the relationship, just a bad look, just a bad look. So look, I think it helps. I think these things really give us something to ponder upon. Thank you so much for the super sticker, your mother. I appreciate it very, very much. Appreciate your kindness. Means a lot. I think we can build from it. We can build from taking few of these aspects, keeping them in mind, knowing how to apply them, not just overthinking it, but take it as things come. If I think if we get paranoid about them, that's not a good thing either, right? I think it's for us to take it with a grain of salt, knowing that hey, sometimes everybody's different, everybody going through different things. But if it's obvious, if these things obvious, if you clearly notice them, okay, at least we will have it in our arsenal, and we know that there's something going on potentially, and we can go from there, right? So I think it's important knowledge to have. This has been great. This felt like 1 minute, and it's been almost hour and a half. They say time flies when you are having fun. I really don't have anything else to say. I think I've said it all. I appreciate you very, very much, my beloved Prototypes community. It's always a pleasure. It's always tons of fun. There's no other place I would rather be on my birthday with all of you hanging out, giving you more wisdom, more knowledge, more conversation, more engagement. And in the beginning, if you haven't joined us from the beginning, I gave you my 2 piece on what my journey has been and what I took away from it so far. So take a moment to rewatch it in a little bit if you have when you have a chance, because I think that could be beneficial too. I talk about gratitude and how gratitude impacted my life and how gratitude can impact your life. I think this is a good place for us to stop. Um, I'm going to be jumping back on night lives starting tomorrow. I don't have the subject yet, the topic of the conversation, but I think I'm going to just start surprising you. And of course, um, you can sending me DMs on Instagram. You can send me things on Twitter. You can comment under this video if you have any suggestions for the next live streams. I also need to make sure that I actually don't forget to make actual videos, because engagement with these lives and with actual videos is quite different. Those shorter videos tend to get more views, so I still got to make sure I take a moment or a few moments to create those videos. But these live streams have been extremely fun. um, Let me know, not necessarily in the comments right now, but send me a DM how I can improve these. Obviously this is all new to me. you know um, those of you who've been with me from a beginning or for a long time, from a beginning of these live streams and live shows, they started out as just Q&A sessions, and then they grown into selecting topic of discussion and really diving deeper in this topic of discussions. We don't always agree, and we don't have to always agree, but I think we always have good conversations and that we can benefit from. Sometimes I read your comments and I think, oh my God, I never thought about that before. That's really interesting way of thinking. Hopefully some of the things that I talk about benefit you and kind of spin your wheels. Hopefully some of the videos that we were watching, or some of the um, blog posts or websites that we're pulling out and information that we're extracting also help. So all in all, it's just collecting the information that we can and trying to make the best sense out of this information. um, I'm open for your suggestions. It helps very, very much. Let me know on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, what I can do to make this better, what I can do to bring more value, and what would make it more interesting for you, because ultimately these live streams, these live shows are for you, prototype family. With that being said, have an amazing Sunday, everyone. I'll be seeing you tomorrow, Monday, August 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I hope you can join, and I hope we can have another fun discussion about topic that is TDB, TBD, to be decided, TBD. And I hope you have an amazing day. Much love, much gratitude and appreciation for every single one of you, for engaging, for sending comments, for your super chats, super stickers, for all the words of support, for birthday wishes, and for being here, right now with the prototype family. Have an amazing, amazing Sunday. I'll be seeing you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Peace.